How you guys doing? This is Isaac Eubank, and this is MMA Fight Talk. I'm here with a good friend, JB Nader, fellow comic and fighter, Bellator fighter. We're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. Really quick, I want to thank my sponsors, Happy Thrift on Facebook and eBay. That's your home for vintage everything. I also want to thank flirty30s.com. You can find the girls that are waiting for you to talk to you right now as we speak. Just hit them up. They don't care how ugly you are. Just talk to them. Also, I want to thank Comedy Scene in Texas. That's where I post all my shows. So if you guys want to come see me do comedy, check out Comedy Scene in Texas on Facebook, and you'll see all my shows. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm here with my boy, JB Nader. JB, what's going on, my brother? What's up?
What's up, big man?
Not much, man, not much. I'm really excited to have you on here, man. I've been wanting to talk to you about MMA for a little while. We only see each other here and there at open mics and different comedy shows, so I'm glad we actually got this time to actually sit down and fucking chop it up, man.
I'm glad I put my foot down on my wife and made her leave the house with the kids so I get some alone time on the laptop with my boy.
Right. Yeah, man. It's hard to do with the kids, man. I know. I feel you. I'm a single dad, you know. Lately, my girlfriend, she's been around more often, so that kind of helps out a little bit. But, man, the kids, they just kind of take over, you know. Your life stops being yours, and it starts being about just them. And then when you want to do shit like this, you have to just completely separate yourself. You have to kick them out, send them to fucking Disneyland or whatever you got to fucking send them to. But you have to just disconnect, man, in order to do shit like this. I feel you.
A free moment comes at a cost because they don't happen unless you spend money to send the kids off somewhere to go do something. Just taking a shit in peace and quiet, that's like $100 right there. Like, take the kids to the zoo. Here's some money for some snacks. I'm going to drop this deuce.
Yeah, man. I wanted to address something, man, really quick. A lot of people, they don't know. I know this, and I've been perplexed ever since I've met you, okay? How did your ugly ass end up with such a fine-ass black girl? I mean, it don't make sense. I mean, is this a hood-sanctioned marriage? Do the brothers know about this shit? I mean, because they don't like to give up fine-ass girls like that. What's up with this, man? Talk to me.
Well, it is a riddle because half of my wife's family works for the NAACP. So
Yeah.
it makes Christmas real awkward when we do Secret Santa, and I get like, I'm like, oh, I wonder who got me and what I got, and then I open it up and it's like the autobiography of Malcolm X, you know, or something like that. But I met my wife at a grappling tournament, and
Really?
she got her blue belt from Gabriel Gonzaga, and my school, my lineage is Daniel Gracie, so we were kind of like rival teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched her brutalize one of my teammates at a grappling tournament.
Mm.
And, I'm there cheering on, and I'm like, God damn, man, this girl is kicking the shit out of my teammates kind of hot. And she got up all shining and glistening and, wearing that, head-to-toe spandex.
Wow,
So
yeah.
I've never been much of an approacher. So I just like followed her around the building, stalked her. Creepily, like a potential rapist if I had the opportunity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was like the only thing that kept the rape from happening was I didn't have like an opportunity is what it felt like, you know?
Oh man, that's funny as fuck. That's cool, man. I got to admit, man, I agree. A grappling girls, they're hot, man. That's how I met my girl, pretty much. We did jiu-jitsu together, and I love a girl that actually is down to train, man. There's something about the mentality of a girl that's down to train. They understand what it takes, especially for you. Like you're active, or you were actively fighting in Bellator, so you can't just be with that girl that's worried about her nails and going out and hanging out at the bar with her friends. You got to have someone that's down to get dirty on the mats and just understands what it's about. You feel me?
I do. I agree. It's a surreal thing when you have a fight and you're fighting on TV and you win or you get beat up and you come back in the locker room and your wife is there and she gives you a hug and she's like, you did a good job. I'm so proud of you. And then she goes, but listen, you got to get that underhook. When he gets on top in the half guard, you got to get that underhook.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Woman, can I just sit here with my swollen face and relax before you start critiquing my techniques?
That's funny, man. Does she give you a lot of shit, man, for your techniques in the cage, man? For real?
No, because I would beat the shit out of her if we got in a fight, and she knows that. So No, but we've talked. She knows what the training needs to be like. She knows when you train, you got to lose when you're training. You can't just be at the gym beating people up, because
Yeah.
then when you get in a fight against someone better than you, you're not going to know how to react. We've trained quite a few times. We've grappled. My wife grew up. She was an athlete, man. Went to college on a scholarship for soccer, which isn't a real sport, but she did it. So she knows, man. She's a tomboy. She's got scars and scrapes and
That's cool, man.
stuff like that. So it works for me because I don't know, I'm not much for that soft, sensitive shit.
Yeah, yeah, man. Not only do you have a beautiful wife, man, you have two beautiful kids, man. Are they fighters as well? Did it pass down in the blood? Are they already rolling?
My son is probably more apt to be like in ballet. He's like a graceful. He's into arts, and like my wife, she danced ballet and stuff for like 10 years or something.
Oh wow.
He all kids like dancing to their music and shit, but
Mhm.
he just I don't mean that literally like into ballet, but he likes science. He likes drawing shit. He's like all into that artistic shit. Nothing for which I have any talent for. But
Yeah.
my daughter is gonna fuck Ronda Rousey up very soon. I'm calling it right now. At like UFC 300, my daughter's gonna be like 19 years old, make her debut, and she's gonna brutalize Ronda Rousey. I'm calling it.
We're calling it. That's awesome,
Yeah, I'm
man.
calling it right now. She's something else, man.
That's really awesome. I love watching my kids fucking roll and do jujitsu. I love living vicariously through them. I'm gonna admit it, man. I'm one of those freaking one of those bad parents, like Bonet Ramsey's or whatever parents, that's like is really into their kids winning. And my oldest, it didn't work out with him, man. Or it just didn't jive because he's more of a video game player and he's more laid back like I am, and the competitiveness didn't pass through. So I went ahead and just backed off before I ruined our relationship and let him just go ahead and give it up. But my youngest, man, he's like a fucking monster. It's insane that you fought my youngest. In fact, remember that when you came over here?
Well, I don't. We can't really say it like that because people who don't grapple are gonna be like, "What do you mean you fought your youngest?" Like we didn't like fist fight. We grappled, but
Yeah, yeah.
you were telling me, yeah, I got mats at my house, so I'm thinking like when I come over to your house, there's gonna be like mats in your garage, or you got like a bonus room with like a 6x4 mat, and I walk in your house and like all of your living room is a grappling room,
Yeah.
and your kid walks out like chest all swollen, like, yo, who just walked into my house? And I'm an alpha male. I'm like, bro, you can't walk up on me like that. We
Yeah.
like bump chest, and then I just gotta jump half guard and show him what's what, man.
That's funny, man. That is so fucking funny.
You
Yeah,
can't be
no,
walking around the house like a little baby silverback.
right? Dude, it's in the blood. Dude, I'm telling you, I loved watching you guys roll. I love watching that competitiveness, man. Are you planning on anytime soon getting back in the cage, or is that pretty much it for you? Do you want to start training people? I mean, what's your plans on your future for MMA?
Bro, I was happy. My last fight, I got poked in the eye. I just dropped the guy I was fighting. I dropped him with a right hand, like flash KO'd him. And when he hit the ground, he woke back up. And so I dropped down to finish him. And he was like woozy, but he stuck like an 8-foot finger into my eye socket and fucked up my eye pretty good. And with air traffic control, you got to have two somewhat normally functioning eyeballs. So my big worry was like, oh man, if I keep fighting, something crazy could happen. I'm gonna lose my whole career.
Hmm.
So when I moved down here, I decided I was gonna retire. But man, that bug don't go away, man. Bellator came down here in February, and like December, I was like trying to get a number to call someone and say, yo, let me see about getting a fight, man.
Yeah.
Um, but my wife and everybody talked me out of it. And but I got a friend of mine. I just started training with him, Jared Clark. He trains at a gym up in Kingwood. Um, One of my coworkers does jujitsu there. He asked if I wanted to come in and train. I went in, held some mitts. I hit some mitts. We grappled a bit. So I've been helping to coach him get ready for a fight he's got coming up on the 11th at the Humboldt Civic Center. So I kind of got back into it, into coaching, which is good. It's a good substitute for actually fighting. I don't get to do all the things I want to do, but I get to help somebody else get ready. So that's how I'm staying in it right now.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. What is your, views on MMA right now and the direction that it's going? Do you like the direction that it's going in, or do you think that MMA needs help?
Uh, it's such a broad topic to speak with any sort of like certainty or anything, but I agree with there could be two sports right now. I think there's room for two sports. One would be the old school UFC style of things, where it was like one legit Taekwondo guy fighting a legit boxing guy, and you let the two completely separate martial arts go at it and see which one in that moment between those two competitors is superior. You know,
Hmm.
you have a wrestler go against a pure jiu-jitsu guy, and you just see which person can apply their martial art the best. I like those style of fights. Those are interesting. Um, that makes for a different type of a fight. Nowadays, MMA has kind of become a martial art in and of itself. We all know you got to know jiu-jitsu, you got to have wrestling, you got to have Muay Thai, and you got to have like a mixture of like judo and boxing. You know what I mean? A little bit of all these things make up this sport of MMA.
Yeah.
And you've got specialists. You still have striking specialists. You still have ground specialists. But essentially, they're all doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that is more of a sport nowadays, which is good. I mean, but you see nowadays, you see athleticism canceling out some other people's skill.
Like the martial art aspects of it.
Yeah. So you can have someone who's more of an athlete, someone, um, just an
Like a
athletic
like a Matt
background.
Hughes, like a Matt Hughes wrestler that's just dominating people, just taking them down, or like a GSP that's just really freaking athletically,
It's
gifted.
exactly what I mean. Like a
Yeah, yeah,
GSP,
yeah.
a Tyron Woodley, guys who I mean they have a background in something, but
Sage
their
Northcutt.
athleticism is what's really
Yeah, Sage
carrying them
Northcutt.
through a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking Sage Northcutt. Um, so it's really two different sports. I mean, if you had, for example, GSP would doing just his karate shit, if he never did any ground game stuff, just GSP the karate guy versus um, just who's the guy that was the 170 champ, fat guy.
The fat guy.
Yeah, he just lost his belt.
Oh, Hendricks.
Hendricks
Yeah,
versus Johnny Hendricks, the wrestler.
yeah.
That's a match I'd be interested in seeing. Can Hendricks take him down with his little baby
See,
arms?
but this is the problem with that, man. I agree with you with that. I do like seeing the contrasts in styles, but this is the fact of the matter is we're evolving, and the sport's evolving, and as the sport evolves, the athletes are going to evolve, and they're all going to absorb all these different types of martial arts, and it gets watered down into mixed martial arts rather than a strong wrestler or a strong judo player or whatever. So that being said, I I I don't mind that direction, but what I do mind is the way that these fighters right now are being exploited in the fact that like they got these bad Reebok deals where the fighters can't make money, but UFC is still able to fucking plaster the canvas with all their sponsors and make money. It's just one sided. That's my problem. That's kind of where I was trying to get at. What do you think about the one sidedness, the business aspects of this sport right now?
I think there's two arguments for that. One for it and one against it. On the one hand, the sport doesn't you don't get the exposure, you don't get the chance to fight without the business side of that coming into play, you know?
Mhm.
Were it not for that business side, we'd all still be fighting, at Billy's, backyard barn, where they're serving, hooch and homebrew, and they're worried about the cops showing up and breaking up the show. We're fighting it. We're gonna have a fight soon at Madison Square Garden. They fighting in Cowboy Stadium. They're fighting at all the big arenas in Vegas, and they're doing all that because of the business aspect of the sport.
Mhm.
You know, you can compare it the same way to football in the '60s. These guys were playing football on Sunday and then going to work on Monday selling cars because they didn't have the money that the business side brought into it.
Yeah.
So you have to have that in order to get to a certain level where fighters have the opportunity to make millions of dollars. On the other hand, only like the top 10%, maybe 20% of the UFC is making serious money. I have several friends and training partners that fight in UFC right now that in between fights are turning wrenches, bro. They're like changing breaks, and they're serving fucking meals at restaurants because they're not making that money, you know?
Yep.
So that it's 80% of the roster that's getting fucked over by not getting that sponsorship money. I heard somebody, I can't remember the name of the fighter, but when they took away the sponsorship money, he lost $100,000 per fight. He said between all the sponsors. You know what he got?
Brendan Schaub.
Reebok money. He got $2,500.
Yep, Brendan Schaub, man. Yep.
Which is asinine.
Yep. It is crazy. It is crazy, man. That was Brendan Schaub, man. Tell us now a little bit about your background in MMA and stuff, and like where you came from and who you trained with and stuff like that.
Well, my background, I'm proud to say, is a yellow belt in Taekwondo when I was like 11. And then I didn't touch martial arts again for a long time. Lost a bunch of fights in high school. But I got into it through the military. I went to the Army's hand-to-hand combat course, which is basically centered around the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I got into it through there, and while I was at that course, I met a few guys who actually had an Isaac Eubank situation where they had like a room matted off, although it wasn't their living room, it was their garage.
Yeah.
And so I actually had done pretty well in the course that they invited me to come train with them. So I went. And it was the blind leading the blind, man. Every day it would say, all right, listen, this Saturday, Nader, it's your turn to teach a technique. And I would say, shit, I better find a technique I can learn. And I would like go to YouTube, look some shit up, and then show up and be like, all right, here's this new move. And it would be some shit I just pulled off the internet an hour ago. And we would all train, grapple, no idea what we were doing, no technique. But that was how I got into it. And then through that, you know, you get into like some local fights and some stuff in the military, some tournaments, stuff like that. But I was all but done with it when I got out of the military. I moved to Massachusetts. And New England, a lot of people don't know, New England has a real concentrated MMA scene. You know, it's a lot of people in a smaller area, but there's a lot of schools there. And there's a lot of high-level fighters that come from that New England area. There's a lot of schools there. So I had retired from it. I got there. And I was lifting weights and running. You know, that was my only workouts. And then I found a guy that taught jiu-jitsu, and he was a brown belt. And when I got to his class, it was just him and me because he had no one to roll with. And I got there. I warned him. I said, listen, I just want to warn you. I taught hand-to-hand combat in the Army, thinking that I was like some Billy Badass, right? And this dude fucked up my entire world as if I had never. He fucked me up. And I remember coming out being like scratching my brain, like I don't know what just happened in there. And you know, it's a very sobering feeling knowing that if a grown man wanted to forcibly rape you, he could, and there's nothing you can do about it, even if you're bigger than him, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then I got into it over there, and you know, just got in with a legit club. Was affiliated with a Sit Yat Tong for about 6 years. Fought a Sit Yat Tong. A lot of good dudes in that camp, man. A lot of good guys I keep up with. A lot of my teammates, I was there when they started fighting. Like, hey, welcome to Sit Yat Tong. You know, I'm JB, and this guy comes in and is like, oh yeah, hey, you know, I'm gonna train with him on his first session. And now that guy, his name is Rob Font. Rob fights in the UFC.
Nice.
And now I'm fat and lazy down in Houston, Texas.
Right? Isn't that how it goes, man? Shit, man. Oh. I still have those, you know, delusions of grandeur sometimes myself, man, where I think, oh, I can do this. I can get in there and I can actually be effective because they move, they're slow. You know, my head, I haven't taken that much damage, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm a young 38. You know what I mean? I have all these freaking delusions. But at the end of the day, man, I'd rather tell jokes and get paid. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier.
Yeah. It's a lot easier on the brain, right? And the body.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, how's the comedy thing going for you, bud? You said you were writing before. How's that going?
Yeah, I took a few weeks off, man. For me, some people can tell the same set over and over and over, and I get so bored with that. I can't really do the same set more than like twice, man, which causes me to have to write quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's a negative thing on me that I can't tell the same set too often, or if it just means I don't know. A short attention span. I don't know, but so I took some time off, just doing the home life thing, uh, working out and training a lot, a lot of MMA actually. But I wrote a bunch of stuff, so I'm probably gonna go tonight. Maybe the Improv, probably the Boondocks, something like that, and work out some new material.
Cool, cool. Man, yeah, I'll probably be at Improv tonight too myself. Real quick, man, when are you gonna start ducking me and actually come use this living room, man, and fucking roll with me? What's up with that?
Well, for one, you can't duck an invite that hasn't come. I can't. I
It's
can't
open.
duck a challenge. I
It's
can't
been
duck a
open.
challenge that I haven't officially been given.
It's been open.
Yo, I tell you one thing. I come down there, and me and your kid are going round two. I'm telling you, nobody knee bars me, bro. You hear me? Especially not some little kid. So I got to get my revenge on them.
Yeah, for sure, man. Man, also I wanted to get what's your opinions right now on Conor McGregor and the Diaz fight, man. I gotta know. Myself, I'm a Diaz fan. I love Diaz, but I
Most
fucking
most
love
potheads do.
Conor. Most potheads do, right?
Most potheads do love him.
We got to stick together, bro. You know. But no, honestly though, I'm not delusional. I know that Conor McGregor can hit hard. You know, I know Conor McGregor can fight. You know, with angles just the same as Diaz, but he's just a little sharper. I think him being a little bit sharper, hitting a little bit harder is what's going to win him the fight. What do you think?
I think that Conor McGregor is probably 3 times the athlete that Nate Diaz is physically, as far as coordination, athletic ability. Um, I think it's going to be you know what? I think it has potential to be fight of the year because Nate Diaz, he does not, he presses the fight. He's aggressive. He's an
Mm-hmm.
offensive fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to come after you. On top of that, he has that showmanship ability that everyone is familiar with both Diaz brothers. You know,
Yeah.
the hands up, slap you, what
Yeah.
bitch, slap you again with the other hand. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and Conor McGregor, as everybody knows, he can talk too. They've already had some pretty powerful, explosive press conferences, and I think something like that is going to carry over right into the fight. Before they even come out, before Bruce Buffer gets into his little introductions and Herb Dean or whoever like brings him to the middle of the cage, they're gonna be standing there flipping each other off. Nate's gonna be saying, "What, bitch, Stockton? What?" You know, Conor McGregor's gonna be speaking that English Irish language that you can somewhat understand, and I think it's actually gonna be a good fight. The great equalizer is Conor McGregor is terrible on the ground. It's not a big secret. I think he works on it a lot. I think his athleticism makes up for quite a bit, but he is not great on the ground. And Nate Diaz is an ace, dude. Nate Diaz is an ace, and he's got real good judo. So
Mm-hmm.
the reach thing, I think, is negated. They both had a long reach. I don't think anyone's going to have like an advantage, like they're going to land and the other one won't because of the reach. They both know how to fight long.
Yeah, for sure.
So if Nate Diaz can get into the clinch and get a nice little trip out of it and get it to the ground, real good chance of winning. But
Yeah.
I think mentality of let's just fucking trade blows is possibly going to lose him the fight.
Yeah, I think that's true as well, man. I'm hoping that his superior judo and ground skills are what's going to carry the fight into the second round. But I think that if Conor can figure that out, by second round, Nate gets knocked out. That's my opinion.
Knocked out? I don't think I've ever seen Nate knocked out. Has he ever been knocked out?
Has he ever been hit by Conor McGregor?
Man, have you seen some of the guys Nate's been in there with?
Yeah, but I mean,
At
how?
170, he's been in the cage with real 170ers, guys that cut down from 210, 215 pounds. He's been punched by those guys. You think someone that's coming up from featherweight is going to be able to knock him out? Knocking out Jose Aldo, someone who's always fought at 45, is impressive at 145. It's not impressive at 170. There's not a welterweight in UFC that can't knock out a 145er if they land flush.
See, this is the thing, though. Everybody acts like Conor McGregor is this 145er. Conor McGregor is, he held dual belts in his last promotion. He walks around in the 170s, comfortably, and he looks fucking thick. I mean, he's smaller than Nate, yes, but he by no means is he a punk. I think that Conor McGregor does possess that power because it's about angles, it's about precision, just like he says, and the way that Conor moves and punches. A lot of these guys that are big in the 170s, like your Tyrone Woodleys and just your stronger fighters, they're winging punches. They don't have that precision. They're not stepping to the left and throwing that fucking right down the pipe. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. I disagree somewhat, but I get what you're saying, and I agree somewhat. I disagree about Tyron Woodley. I think that's crazy that you think he doesn't have punching power.
I know. I didn't say he didn't have punching power. I'm saying he kind of wings it rather than taking angles and picking his shots.
Do you think that Conor McGregor is a better striker than Donald Cerrone?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
You think like by a wide margin or maybe just a little bit?
No. Not by a wide margin at all. I think that Donald Cerrone is a good striker, but I think that Conor McGregor is more precise. I think he can work angles better. I'm really impressed by Conor's movement. I think that Donald Cerrone does possess good hands. He possesses knowledge. He has a good feeling for when he's in the cage on where to be and where not to be, but he doesn't possess that tight movement that Conor McGregor does.
Well, the reason I asked, I don't know that he's a better Cerrone. I think is a better kickboxer. Conor McGregor a better like MMA striker in terms of having a more varied bag of strikes. As far as what strikes that he throws effectively. But the reason I brought it up is I think Nate Diaz beat Donald Cerrone.
He did.
And so it's not crazy to think that he could beat Conor McGregor, someone who is coming from 2 weight divisions below him.
Yeah.
He can obviously handle dealing with someone who's a world-class striker. Donald Cerrone, as far as MMA goes, he's a world-class striker.
He is.
Who's beaten some other legit world-class strikers. So it's not outside the realm to think Nate Diaz can win. I think he absolutely can win. He's more of the thing going against him is he's a volume puncher. He's not a one-hit lights-out puncher. He's a volume puncher. In order to beat Conor McGregor, he's going to have to hit him with a lot of volume, and I don't know that he can do that. He can land some heavy shots in 1s and 2s, but I don't know if he's going to be able to put that volume on him that he's going to need. When he beat Gray Maynard, when Nate Diaz beat the shit out of Gray Maynard, he hit him like 40 times, and Gray was still kind of stumbling around. So I don't see him hitting Conor that many times to get the finish. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be an entertaining fight.
Yes. What about, Miesha Tate, Holly Holm. I think that Miesha Tate is by no means any joke. She's the one that took Ronda Rousey into later rounds. She's the one that has landed punches, onto Ronda Rousey. Has taken Ronda Rousey down. I mean, a lot of people forget that last fight with Ronda Rousey. Miesha Tate is no fucking punk. Holly Holm is phenomenal. She has great movement. She's kind of like Conor, in my opinion, with the same type of movement. They're very good at that lateral movement and picking their shots. I love it. I think she'll ultimately win against Holly Holm, but I don't think she's gonna get mollywopped by Holly Holm by any means.
So let me just to clarify, who do you think wins, Holm or Miesha Tate?
Holmes wins. Miesha Tate puts up a hell of a fight. I think they might even get the fight of the year over Conor McGregor and oh boy.
I can see that. The difference in this fight, I think, is that Ronda, in order to do what she's best at, which is judo, she's got to get into a clinch with you. Yeah. And the difference between Miesha and Ronda is Misha's a wrestler. She's a specialist at closing that distance. Mm-hmm. Ronda is not a specialist at closing the distance. So Holly was able to use her footwork, which is what boxing is. Boxing is 80% managing the distance between you and your opponent with footwork. And Holly Holm had that in spades. But wrestling is 80% closing the distance. So it's going to be a battle of footwork, I think. Can Miesha cut a good angle and close the distance to get a good shot on Holly? Or can Holly keep her quarter turning out and keeping her footwork sharp to keep the distance and keep a good angle ahead of Miesha while using her reach? I think she's going to have quite a bit of a reach advantage. Mm-hmm. If she can keep that reach, keep her footwork going, could be the exact same scenario that played out with Holly Holm versus Ronda, but Miesha Tate's striking is worse than Ronda's. So there's that too. Like if
you think it's worse than Ronda's? Nah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No way. No way.
Absolutely.
Miesha Tate,
did you watch that fight? Did you watch?
She was hitting Ronda when they were fighting. She was actually hitting Ronda, landing punches. You know,
eyes closed. It wasn't like a fist. It was like one of those slap fists. Yeah. Every strike you could hear like a little female squeak. Like,
oh damn.
Miesha Tate's strike is just terrible.
Twitter's gonna be blowing up with feminists now, man. What's up with that?
Well, I have a message for those feminists. Not only is Miesha Tate striking terrible, but most women in general.
What? So most women in general are terrible strikers, and damn, dude. I mean, what about comedy? Let's just go. Let's just burn the bridge down.
There's a couple female comics that I find funny. The funniest female comic in America, I think, is Natasha Leggero. She's also the best looking. But in general, I don't find female. But you know, for me, I don't find a lot of comics funny, to be honest. And I don't know if it's because I'm a comic. With comics, a lot of times when someone's on stage, you're following the joke, and you can kind of tell what direction they're going with it. So you kind of already got the punchline sort of figured out, so it lessens, like the funniness of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of for me, a lot of female comics, they have to go for that shock value in some of their jokes.
Yes.
And that's not. I mean, I haven't seen every female comic because I don't enjoy female comics, so I don't watch them.
Oh man.
There are some here in Houston that I've heard that are pretty funny. Nitra, for one. I think Nitra is probably one of the best comics in Houston. Stacey Anderson as well.
Yes.
Stacey Anderson is my boo. I don't know if she knows that or not. But like a lot of your general female comic at like an open mic.
Okay.
That's a negative. That's a negative.
So there you have it, folks. From the horse's mouth, you know, besides JB Nader and Stacey Anderson, female comics and female fighters, they need to fucking go. That's what he says, people. That's what he says. Hey,
I didn't say I need to go.
What can you do? What can you do, man? What can you do? You know, when JB Nader speaks, you know, the world's just got to listen. It's the final word, folks. Anyways, I want to thank JB Nader, man, for even fucking with me and doing this, taking some time doing this, kicking his family out, and doing this little interview. I've had fun with you, bro. I got to hurry up and get off because I got to get to the improv. But yeah, man, you have an open invite. Anytime you want to come on, we can chop it up. I like talking to you so much, I might even include you in an interview with other UFC fighters. So keep that in mind, you guys. If you want to see that, you know, leave me a message about that. Let me know if you guys liked it, man. You know, subscribe to my channel, like me, retweet me, help me get the word out, you guys. All right? Thanks for tuning in. It's the MMA Fight Talk. I'm Isaac Eubank. Peace.